Good morning, everyone. What a wonderful morning it is. So, it is the day after the New York City election, and Zohran Mamdani, won the election. So, let's get into some urbanism in this case. Uh, First off, every pro housing, pro transportation, pro bike lane uh, person won in almost everywhere in New York except for District 19 in Queens. I'm so sad. Uh, we wanted Bincho. But all the housing measures passed, measures 2 through 5, which seek to improve the affordability and approve upon the ability for New York City to build more apartments, more condos, more housing generally in New York City. And so I want to talk about the streets. But yeah, it was a great night for urbanism in New York City. It was a fantastic night. It's hard to understate how fantastic yesterday was for urbanism in New York City. I mean, oh, God, I'm so happy. And now it's time to get to work. So we did the first part, and now we have to actually secure the bag. We have to check the box. We have to show up. So yeah, so everything else was the campaigning, all that, and that was one hurdle. But now we have to. Now that we have the people we need to push things forward, now we have to push them so they push things forward, and we also have to support them in their efforts to push affordability forward. All right, so Streets Blog, Agenda 2026. The new mayor must revolutionize New York City streets. And this is the thing so I'm going to stop right here. This is the thing that Eric Adams could have done on his own and chose not to do. And I said, if he didn't go big enough on something, he was going to get Lori Lightfooted. And if you know who Lori Lightfoot is, she was a former mayor of Chicago who got beat before she ever made it to the runoff election. She didn't even make it to the runoff election. So that means in their primary, she did not even make it to the top 2 for the runoff. And so therefore she did not make it. And similar story, Eric Adams, he did not make it to the Democratic primary. He dropped out of that because he thought he would lose. And then he didn't even make it to the general election. So he didn't even think about that. Eric Adams, who was supposed to be the face of the Democratic Party, didn't even make it to the general election in the next election as a result of his lack of leadership and his corruption. So here we go. Look here. All right. So Zohran can do this the easy way and the hard way. Streets Blog previously offered incoming Mayor Zohran Mamdani a list of livable streets movements, low-hanging fruit that he could do quickly, accomplish on day one to make the city a better place. Now it's time for the mayor-elect, who earned his move to Gracie Mansion partly on his promise to improve the city's affordability and its transportation, to seize this once-in-a-generation chance to do the hard work long sought by livable streets advocates and government veterans. Reduce the dominance of cars. Absolutely, 100%. We've got to reduce the number of cars in New York City, especially Manhattan, especially in some of the busier parts of Brooklyn and Queens. We need to make public transportation the default, or obviously walking and cycling are defaults. We need people focused infrastructure. Our lives should not revolve around our cars. Our cars should revolve around us. Okay. And not just on the roadways, where car and truck drivers kill and maim tens of thousands of New Yorkers every year, but across the entire public realm. Starting on January 1st, Mamdani will have a huge opportunity to reshape the city's streetscape where Mayor Adams fell short. And his first chance to illustrate that broad vision will come at the end of his first year when he's required to issue the next Streets Master Plan, a de Blasio-era requirement that binds all mayors to implement a network of protected bike and bus lanes. Let me repeat that. Zohran Mamdani needs to come up with a streets plan that will create a protected bike network and a bus lane network for New York City. The Adams administration failed to meet the requirements of the current streets plan for new bus and bike lane mileage every year, prioritizing vague notions of community input over street safety and allowing corruption to fester. Mamdani has already pledged to finish the laundry list of stalled street safety projects, but he must go beyond being not corrupt to turn the page on the domination of the automobile and return the Big Apple streets to its people. We tried being a car-centric city under Robert Moses, and it didn't work at all. Danny Perlstein, the policy and communication directors for Writers Alliance. Mamdani provided Streets Blog with many of his stances on transportation issues over the summer after he clinched the Democratic primary. But here are the large-scale policy changes that he must consider if he hopes to be remembered with history's great bike and bus-friendly mayors, whose names salute us right now. So that means there is none. If you don't know, then it probably did. Then maybe it just didn't happen. So in New York City, there are simply too many cars and trucks whose drivers annually cause around 250 deaths and 50,000 plus injuries, or about 150 reported injuries per day. Now, that's not crashes, that's injuries, because there's about 250 crashes per day. Motorists pollute our air, hog this dense city's limited streetscape, and atomize New Yorkers from one another in metal boxes. The next administration must seriously reduce driving, or to use the experts' preferred term, vehicle miles traveled. Motor vehicle trips have continued to rise in recent years following a car boom during the pandemic. Well, here's the thing. If people buy a car, they're going to use it. And so if everybody bought cars during the pandemic, because hardly no one was going out of their house, and they still have that car, well, they're going to still want to use it. But I think what's happening is the jobs are in New York City, and people are just traveling in from all around New York City into New York City with their car when they should drive to the train station or bus stop or bus park and ride, whatever they got in their area, in their suburb, and then board the train or the bus there, and then take that into New York City. One, it's safer, and two, if you go out and have drinks, whatever, have a good time in New York City, well, you take the train back or the bus back. They run 24 hours a day in New York City. So there's, so from that perspective, there's no excuse to be out here drunk and driving and needing to park in the people's spaces that's for the people here in New York. Okay. The next administration, okay, we did that. A model many advocates cite is Paris, where Mayor Anne Hidalgo was able to reduce pollution, road violence, and all other car harms by taking on the status quo. Hidalgo implemented a raft of measures to discourage driving, including repurposing large amounts of streetscape from private vehicles to bikes, mass transit, and raising the price of driving SUVs. So here's the other. So I would also add, in New York, we need to expand the sidewalks. New York needs to be the city with the widest sidewalks. There, I said it. I think New York needs to be the city with the biggest and best sidewalks. Like, I mean, wide, like so uncomfortable wide. That's what I think New York should be doing, as well as our super wide bike lanes. Love that. Love it. There's space for it. What there isn't space for is SUVs. Okay, so in 2007, look at this. Look at the pollution. It's so high. And look at it now. It's like basically green, except for with the highways. And even those are significantly less polluted than they were before. And the surrounding area, as you can see in this diagram, also shows like improvements like to the air quality. It was just better all the way around. Look, here we go. I mean, good Lord. Yeah, I'm here for it. Look at this picture. I mean, what else you like? Yeah, this is wonderful. Good for Mayor Anne Hidalgo. That's what we could have. Sarah Lind, co-executive director at the advocacy group Open Plans. Fundamentally, we believe the city can reduce driving if it tries. Mamdani can also take notes from London, where low traffic neighborhoods reduce cut-through traffic and prioritize residents. The British capital has rolled them out on a large scale. Oh, I do like the idea of low traffic neighborhoods. Look, I'm one of those people. I want the people, leave the cars. Bring the people, leave the cars. Like, bring the public transportation, bikes. I'm okay with that. Bring the people, leave the cars. And I think we need delivery times for deliveries to happen in the off hours. So 10 at night till 8 in the morning. And then all of those trucks need to disappear for the whole day. So we can enjoy the day. The nighttime shouldn't be the only time I can go outside of my house and not see trucks. I think it should be reversed. The daytime is when I want to go outside my house and not see trucks. Okay, so to make that case, Mamdani must show New Yorkers the benefit conferred by reducing space for cars, Lind argued. You have to see it to believe it, said Lind. You don't need people treating your residential streets like highways. In the meantime, check out how it worked in the Big Smoke. Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. Oh, wow. I'm just curious.
So we are on Church Street, which is what we'd call a high street or a main street. So you've got a huge amount of businesses here. And what they've basically done is halfway down the street is they've created a bus gate that's active from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So during those hours, the only thing that can pass through is bikes and buses, like we're gonna see coming right here now. So we still have deliveries, everything going on, but like that car there, you're not going to be using it as a through route. And so what that means is it's a much quieter, more peaceful environment for pedestrians. You'll see lots of cyclists using this because it's a comfortable place to cycle without those heavy vehicle traffic volumes.
Up the road in Stoke Newington, they put in bus gate.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So their bus gate is equivalent to our bus lane or our busway. Sorry, not bus lane, but our busway, like we have on 14th Street. And then DOT has started but stopped the one we wanted to do on 34th Street. So I think that's a great idea. There are many prime candidates for low traffic neighborhoods in pedestrian dense districts like Soho, Little Italy, Dumbo, which is ostensibly one big cul-de-sac anyway. Mamdani has fellow travelers. In the financial district, Councilmember Chris Marte endorsed more pedestrianized streets, and leadership in Times Square is also open to it, which explains why Mamdani has said he will focus in both of those areas. Car-free open streets serve as a blueprint as well, and the city should focus on quality over quantity by implementing those where they work best, such as the gold standard 34th Avenue in Jackson Heights, according to Pearlstein. It was such a vibrant community missing one thing, a park. Now it has a park, he said. Some of those open streets didn't take off, but when they did, they really did. Another top candidate for eliminating car traffic is the streets outside of schools. These streets tend to be more dangerous and suffer from chaotic conditions as parents drive their kids to school and teachers park outside thanks to parking placards and also thanks to the fact that the teachers can't afford to live in the neighborhood where they teach, which I think is very unfortunate. School streets have expanded under the Open Streets program, but some parents have pushed to go further and follow Paris's model. Lynn suggested an opt-out school streets program where all educational automatically have one unless they choose not to keep their kids safe. Okay, that's an interesting sentence, but we'll keep going. Lastly, the city needs to re-implement a real cap on the city's more than 100,000 rideshare app cars rather than opening loopholes by exempting electric and accessible cars. Yeah, I agree. The city should cap it. It should stay much lower than what it is. And in fact, in the commercial business district, I would ban rideshare apps outright in the commercial business district. This way, what would happen is that the taxis would, it's throwing the taxi guys a bone, throwing the taxi people a bone a little bit. All right. The city also needs to keep a serious check on the incoming autonomous vehicle companies like Waymo, said Sam Schwartz, who served as traffic commissioner in the 1980s. The self-driving cars will have triple the impact of the likes of Uber and Lyft, Schwartz estimated, because they don't rely on humans. Waymo doesn't take lunch breaks. It can respond quickly anywhere, and it works at nights as well. Parking enforcement. Oh my God, this is a huge one. Oh my God, I hate the double parkers. Oh my God, they double park everywhere. No, I hate them too. Look, you know what? It doesn't have to be a cash grab if you don't park where you're not supposed to park. Don't double park. Don't park where you're not supposed to park. It doesn't have to be a cash grab. That is up to you. Everybody pretends like it's a cash grab, but let's get real. Like, anytime someone does something they're not supposed to do, they say, oh, I have my excuse. That's why I need to do it. Like, come on, let's just follow the rules. Like, it only works if people follow the rules. And so cars are dangerous equipment. So I tend to hold them to a higher standard. And also because they use so much space, because cars use so much space, double parking has to be enforced strictly. All right. Relatedly, the city must get serious about illegal parking and placard abuse, which plays the proverbial role of money, the root of all evil. The current approach to personal car storage is largely lawless, with members of the placard elite stashing their vehicles illegally with impunity, and the city's ticketing and towing operation fractured and ineffective. We have huge amounts of illegal parking and no strategy for addressing that, said John Orcutt, former director of policy at DOT in the Bloomberg and de Blasio administrations. DOT can roll out any bus and bike lanes at once, but those will remain ineffective if officials don't take parking enforcement seriously, Orcutt said. We're always going to half-ass the bike network and the idea of bus priority if we go through all the hell of getting these lanes in the street and we let anyone who wants to park in them. That's the real difference between here and in Europe. Yeah, in Europe. Oh, in Europe. Oh my God. Boy, do they enforce the rules. Boy, do they enforce the rules in Europe. Let me tell you what. They absolutely they enforce the rules. So the city should move traffic enforcement back into the DOT, undoing the Giuliani-era breakup of the agency, which shifted that responsibility to the NYPD, said Schwartz. And experts urged Mamdani to appoint a traffic commissioner who will stop the endless passing of bucks when it comes to managing the streets. And that starts with cracking down on its own government placards and on phony license plates. Hire some son of a bitch who's tough on placards and ghost plates, Schwartz said. It's so easily solvable if someone has a backbone. Oh, I like that energy. Sam. Each placard application should go through a review by the mayor's office, the NYPD, and the DOT, Schwartz said. Loading zones also need to be enforced properly rather than just setting up signs and hoping for the best, according to Orcutt. In my neighborhood, the trucks just stop in the main travel lane, Orcutt said. We need to get unloading vehicles out of the traffic flow. The city must also better deal with the onslaught of delivery companies profiting off the public realm and formalize regulations like microhubs on a larger scale. They're able to keep their goods cheap because they're basically able to do their business in public right-of-way cheaply and dangerously, said Orcutt. They're doing business on our property as the public. Oh, damn. They are just not letting anyone get off. Holy moly. Look at these guys. Oh, my God. I am living. So on this topic, I think we need delivery times and we need drop-off zones. So like within a certain area, you can only drop off at a certain spot. This organizes the drop off for taxi drivers and currently Uber and Lyft so that it's not, oh, somebody's just stopped in the middle of the street, like dropping people off. No, you have to drop off in a certain spot, in the drop off spot. Look, we live in a society where we have neighbors and we have to be good neighbors ourselves. So we have to be respectful of everyone in the community and by organizing the Uber drop-offs, the taxi drop-offs, and organizing the delivery times and the delivery spots, I think that will make New York City function better. Okay. A true bus mayor. Mamdani centered buses in his run for office unlike any candidate in recent memory, pledging to make the people movers fast and free as one of his key planks for a more affordable city. The success of the 14th Street busway, which restricts through traffic to speed up transit, needs to be greatly expanded so that surface transit can become true bus rapid transit in the style of Bogota, Buenos Aires, Johannesburg, and other world-class cities. For BRT, Mamdani must prioritize areas of the city that aren't well connected with the subway network, such as crosstown routes in Bronx, swaths of eastern Queens, and southern Brooklyn. Experts have mapped it out, but it will take a mayor with the guts to actually do it. Let's see here. I want to see if they have. Oh, okay. Here we go. I guess these are the areas. Look at that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think that's a great idea. Every part of New York City should have access to great public transportation. That way, they don't need to use their cars for a lot of trips. Like, like you guys don't understand what a relief it is not to have to drive to do everything every day. And I can only imagine what these people out in the outer parts of Queens and Brooklyn and Bronx are experiencing. So this is this is truly, would be a wonderful thing. Plus, it means that now I have an easier time getting over there. I don't have to drive over there. I'd say that's pretty good. The city will need to work with the state, which controls bus service, to actually implement this change. Officials already tried a pared-back version with select bus service, and both levels of government will have to navigate less funding coming from the hostile federal government. There are some real issues out there, said Orcutt. The SBS was a quick and dirty workaround for the stuff we can do and know how to do with the buses that are in the depot today. And how about a bike mayor? Yes. The buses and bikes. Yeah, those are like public transportation and bikes. I mean, to be honest, when I go to a city, that is the first thing I'm rating. And when I go to a city, if you do not have those things, I will rate you down, and I'll be like, don't spend money here. Don't spend money here. I will say avoid. Don't spend money here. Don't spend money here. So if you want, Chris Sanders to spend money and go to your luxury hotel and patronize your community respectfully, then you're going to need great public transportation. I'm so sorry to say. You're going to need a competent government. I'm going to need to feel safe walking around the area. When I feel safe walking, I feel safe spending. All right. And how about a bike mayor? Oh, and how a lot of people are impressed by the fanciest cars or the cars that people are driving. Basically, they're impressed by how much someone spent more than the actual vehicle itself. Well, I'm more impressed by the bike that someone is riding. Is it a gazelle bike, like a Dutch bike? Is it a fixie bike, or really any kind of fancy looking bike? I'm gonna be like, whoa, look at that. That looks nice. And then, how the person rides it and all that, But yeah, the bikes impress me more than anything else. And the types of people riding the bikes impress me also. Like, when I see grandma riding city bike, I'm like, all right, slay, honey. So I hung out with this woman in Switzerland who is like 72 years old, and she rides her bikes up into the mountains of Switzerland. A lot of women ride bikes there. And she let me borrow her bike for a little while I was there. I was really, it was a really amazing trip. And I learned that women cycle a lot in Switzerland, but just for normal, like daily activities, not for necessarily even for sport, but also like their tram system. Oh, I mean, clean, beautiful, nice. I mean, those people, we wish we could do something like that in America. I think America thinks it's Switzerland. I think American suburbs think they're Switzerland, but they need to go to Switzerland to realize that, this is what we were actually trying to do. And we actually didn't do it right. We got it all wrong. But like that is Switzerland, family friendly, livable community. Truly. Zurich, Basel, Lucerne, Schaffhausen, like, mm, 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 mm. Let me tell you what, I was scandalized. I was like, now I know why Tina Turner went to Switzerland and didn't look back. Okay. Mamdani is a regular cyclist in the city, riding around on a city bike during the campaign, which has already earned him national headlines as New York City's first city bike mayor. But any politician can bike, as Adams did for photo ops early on in his tenure. The next mayor can create great cycling infrastructure by speeding up capital construction for bike lanes and going beyond paint and plastic. Mamdani could build on some limited success of the Adams DOT, such as the two-way path on the formerly chaotic Schermerhorn Street, double-wide paths in Manhattan that allow for different speeds and social cycling, bike boulevards, and the complete street on 3rd Avenue, which turned a lane over to bikes and buses. Parks should get two-way protected bike paths on the streets around them, since those are usually dead ends for cars, and many city bridges are just begging to get safe cycling and pedestrian paths, advocates said. Or how about building a completely new bridge for bikes and pedestrians only over the East River or the Hudson, said Schwartz, noting that there hasn't been a new span connecting below 59th Street since 1909. The city should also consolidate the construction of bike and pedestrian greenways, which are currently splintered into DOT, the chronically underfunded Parks Department, and other more obscure arms of government like the Department of Design and Construction and the Economic Development Corporation. DDC in particular has a poor track record of quickly delivering build-outs of public plazas and bike lanes, defeating its entire purpose of making the city's capital construction projects more efficient, as it's the Giuliani administration marked at the time the new agency in 1996. Some of these sentences are interesting. And speaking of city bike, the incoming mayor should subsidize the Western Hemisphere's most popular bike share program, given that it carries more than 200,000 New Yorkers a day, comparable to the PATH train system. The bike share system has been one of the biggest shifts of the city's transportation landscape in the last decade and has brought thousands of people into city biking. But Mayor Adams barely grew his coverage area, with the last full expansion dating back to 2019. Yes, that is true. Like, more people are city biking than ever. That program needs to be expanded. Like, oh my God, needs to be expanded. A government that cares. Mamdani must appoint a centralized head of the public realm with the real power, either on a deputy mayor level or high up at DOT, to counter an exodus of city staffers. Properly staff agencies encourage young talent and grab the public space bull by the horns, experts said. Agents should indeed get stuff done, not get bogged down in bureaucratic process, said one senior administration official who spoke on the condition of anonymity. Can government be held accountable to outcomes, the city official said? Is every single park going to have a working water fountain and restroom or not? Agencies can tap back into their can-do spirit during the early years of the pandemic, the city source said. During those days, DOT repurposed acres of street for outdoor dining, open streets, and parklets, though the latter didn't really take off. The pandemic was a time where government showed us that it can flex its muscle that it never uses, the person said. But why are we all re-entrenched into process? There are also more granular changes that Mamdani should take on, like having the city maintain sidewalks in the same way it does the roadbed, rather than pawning off responsibility to individual property owners, said Christine Bartlett, co-founder of the pedestrian advocacy group Checkbeds. And see, this is the part where I say they need to expand the sidewalks. They need to expand the sidewalks. They need to make them bigger, get rid of one lane of parking on each street, and expand the damn sidewalk. There, I said it. There's no reason as a pedestrian you pay taxes for the street to be maintained, but your part of the street is not, Berthet said. Officials should also ensure pedestrian space is preserved by standardizing the clear path, which currently varies by neighborhood, and make sure that the Department of Sanitation's snow clearing doesn't push white stuff into footpaths and bus stops. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. And the trash. The trash on the sidewalk. No, the trash should go onto the street. Like, and when I say onto the street, I mean onto the car parking. Or ideally, it would go into a trash can, one of those massive trash cans that they have everywhere else in the Western European world that the United States somehow doesn't want to do, or New York City doesn't want to do. They don't want to put the trash in a trash bin. They have huge ones, like the big gray ones. They're like this. They're like massive. You could put them there, put the garbage in there. So while we're dealing with the garbage, but also it's not on the street, it's not unsightly, we shouldn't have to look at that. Okay, what about those highways? In his first year, Mamdani will be under pressure to fix the crumbling Brooklyn Queens Expressway's triple cantilever section, which is deteriorating at a pace where it will become unsafe for trucks within a few years. But he'd improve the lives of far more New Yorkers with bolder action than patching up Robert Moses' greatest mistake. For instance, he should also raise the FDR Drive's underused section south of the Brooklyn Bridge by the South Seaport, Schwartz said. Yeah, I agree. I would. Don't let me ever become mayor because I'll do it. I promise. I will do it. Look, I don't care. You might hate me because I'm going to do that, but I'm going to do it, and you're going to love it after, and I'm going to love you after. So, and look, sometimes it's not always, it's for the best. There are plenty of examples at home and abroad for removing highway infrastructure. The state removed the Sheridan Expressway in the Bronx and turned it into a boulevard in 2019 and plans to tear down the elevated portion of Interstate 81 through downtown Syracuse. In 2019, Seattle, Washington demolished its Alaskan Way viaduct that once carried 90,000 vehicles per day, but the cars just disappeared. Traffic analysts told local media. And officials in Utrecht, the Netherlands, and in Seoul, South Korea, have turned highways into waterways, helping mitigate flooding, air pollution, and heat. City officials frequently cite the need for those highways to carry trucks, but on the BQE, only about 10% of the traffic is heavy haulers, and the city should instead dip into its abundant waterways to move more freight by boat. There are some early, slow-moving proposals for so-called blue highways, which a new mayor could champion and scale up. Oh my God, these are wonderful ideas from Streets blog. Yes, who wrote this article? Let's see. Kevin Dugan. All right, Kevin. All right, slay, Kev. Kev. Yes, love it. Yeah, no, yeah, totally. All of this. I'm here for it. Love it. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Like, subscribe, all that. Yeah. No, I love this. Like, we have the potential to have our first openly urbanist, openly public transportation, house building, bike lane, bus lane mayor. And that is exciting to me. Like, exciting. I am thrilled. It's a great time. All right, let's, hopefully you all are having a wonderful day. That's all I got. Ciao. Congratulations, Zohran, on your win. I voted for you. I canvassed for you at least 3 or 4 times, or if not more. And look, whatever you need, I'm going to support it. I'm going to show up at the community meeting, community board. Also, Brad Holyman Siegel, Manhattan Borough President. Congratulations. We appreciate you, Mark Levine, Brad Lander. Who else? Eric Botcher, Virginia Maloney. Lots of good people. We love Yusuf Salam. All right. Ciao, ciao.